Good day, wrestling fans. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time it is for you. Welcome to the Pain Clinic yes, we're recording this on January 1st. It's New Year's Day. Welcome to New Year's Day. I'm your humble host, The Cashman. I will be joined by Rob Sanderson in just a minute, but I want to go through and do my plugs and then get to it. The holidays today, there's only a couple. It's a National Bloody Mary Day, National Hangover Day. Doesn't surprise me, and it's New Year's Day. This is when, we have a great 2026 ahead. Birthdays today. Jimmy Hart's 82 today. Happy birthday, Jimmy Hart, former guest on the show. Kimberly Page, former wife to Diamond Dallas Page, is 55 today. Happy birthday, both of you. Hey, interested in roller derby? Want to be a skater, officiate? Rock City Roller Derby needs you. Contact recruitment at rockderbyrecruitment@gmail.com and join Rock City Roller Derby. If you're in the men's team, Flower City Fear, FLOUR, flowercityfear.com. We're always looking for help. And that's why we're recording today, because on this whole weekend we have a juniors tournament that I'm the head announcer at, and I'm kind of be occupied from, I don't know, Friday through Sunday. So start off the new year with Winter Wonder Jam. Come on out to the Minette Hall at the Dome Arena, and that's where we'll be. Some things. Welcome to the show. Hey, Rob, how are you doing today? Happy New Year.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's more, well, it's
Happy New Year's Day night.
something like that. Welcome to, thank you so much. We're going to get this out of the way real quick. I don't mean to do it on an off day, but we have to. Everybody else is in transit and whatnot, so might as well just record this, because DC should be driving back to, I did see DC this week. He was, went to lunch with him on Saturday, with him and Murph and DC's brother and DC's wife and his brother's wife, and a whole bunch of people who went out, and it was had a good time. And I hadn't seen DC since we watched AEW's All In my living room 6 months ago or something like that. So they all send their best to you, Mr. Artiste. Thank you so much for being here. A few things we want to talk about, because we did. I mean, it's really only been half a week, or maybe a little bit more than half a week since we last talked. But a few things I'm going to talk about. We're going to talk about World's End pay-per-view. A lot of things that fell out from that. We're going to talk about some AEW news from this past week. Where's the WWE content going now that it's off Peacock as of today? And William Regal made a post I thought was interesting that maybe we can talk a little bit about. But Rob, how you doing? How you make it through the holidays so far? Did you stay up to make it to midnight last night?
I did. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I put myself on a sleep schedule probably back when I was a teenager that would ensure that forever I would always be awake for midnight. I go to sleep at the most unreasonable hours. So yes,
No,
I was
I
definitely
believe
awake.
me. I'm a night owl. I get that, man. I wish I could do that all the time. Can't, unfortunately, but I did make it. I did watch the hockey game. Great, 10th in a row for the Sabres last night.
Oh, that hockey game good, not the US game because
No, I did not. No, I did not see that. But as well as Stranger Things finale, I watched last night too. In fact, I had to pause it so that I could turn to the TV and do the countdown, and then unpause it and go back and finish and watch the rest of it, which was it was already past everything all the things that had happened, and it was like this is our last episode. We got to do a lot of this fan service stuff, so that all these characters are going to be okay. So if you ever watch it, it's a good show. I enjoyed it.
I have never seen it.
Oh yeah, so
Um, I don't know. I had enough last night with TSN 1 with the Canada game, TSN 2 with Dynamite, TSN 5 with the USA game, and Triller TV Plus on the laptop with GCW. Um,
oh yeah, I did
didn't see
watch
any of the Sabres
Dynamite.
game last
I
night,
did.
but
I did watch Dynamite too. I was like kind of flipping back and forth. Obviously, do want to talk about that because some stuff happened on that. But let's talk a little bit right off the bat about last weekend's AEW's World's End pay-per-view. So some significant things happened. I think something that you and I had talked about last week that we figured was going to happen happened, and some great matchups. What are your thoughts overall on the pay-per-view from last weekend?
it was good. I think it's another one of those pay-per-views where it wasn't there wasn't really anything bad that I can recall. I feel like everything was pretty solid, but there's not really anything that I can recall that like would be on my list of like match of the year type stuff. I don't know. I like
There was potential.
yeah, I mean it's a little weird, I guess. Like I get it. It's not necessarily a bad decision, but like the match I had been looking forward to the most was on first, and it was good. Um, I don't know. And I'm fine with the finish and stuff. Like obviously, I don't know, the way that Final Four, the Continental Classic win is not what I would have preferred. Um, I mean, literally in terms of those results, they were 0 for 3 that night in terms of what I wanted. But I guess it's good to not have predictability in all of that. They found a way to get things done. I really liked the storytelling of the screwdriver
Yeah.
that Okada used and then Fletcher couldn't find for his own match. And so that was really good. And I mean, the promo from Moxley was really good. Um, it was a solid pay-per-view. Yes, ended the way that fully expected it to end, and that was fine. Just felt like there's some pieces missing. I don't know. But a solid pay-per-view, but not a pay-per-view of the year in terms of the AEW ones.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, you have we thought Okada was gonna win, but or I mean, obviously Takeshita being the New Japan Pro Wrestling champ does take a loss. Now it had to be not clean, obviously, and so that kind of takes a little bit of the fun out of it because if they had done like a screwdriverless match, we'll say, it may have been, it may have gone longer and, but they didn't. And so nevertheless, that's the way they picked to go. But what about, did you think about the very weird timeless Tony Storm dancing with Orange Cassidy as they were kicking people's butts? It was a very interesting visual of them doing the two-step dance and pummeling people. They kind of went back to it last night on Dynamite a little bit. At least Tony Storm said that you know Shirakawa was a little jealous. She goes, "You don't need to be jealous. There's nothing sexual here. It's just we danced together." So, you think that was that right up Tony Storm's alley there, doing a little ballroom dancing in the middle of the ring?
Yeah, I think I mean that mixed nuts mayhem.
Yeah.
It was fun on the pay-per-view. I like the idea to have some creative fun stuff between Tony and Orange. I mean that makes perfect sense to do. Certainly was I don't know. There were a lot of spots in the match that I appreciated, and the initial interaction in that match between Roddy and his wife Marina was entertaining to say the least. Got a huge pop. The crowd was pretty good all night there in Chicago, but I don't like them going back to that match. Like they like take one person off each team or whatever and do it again last night. Like that was not necessary. That's the kind of thing that I can't stand. Like the match itself was kind of a thrown together, like, oh, let's do this on the pay-per-view to get these people on the pay-per-view. Okay, cool, great, have fun with it. But like there's no need to go back to it on the Dynamite afterwards. That's my problem.
No, no, and I think it's interesting how, they don't specifically say that Roderick Strong is married to Marina Shafir, but they get excited when they're in the ring together at the same time. The announcers do. You hear like pick up in their voice because they had, they were pretty physical with each other last night, which I thought was pretty neat. I was but I wouldn't suggest, hitting your wife or anything like not that he hit her. He just was trying to get her into his finisher. But I thought that was, it was kind of neat, a little call back there last night, on the pay-per-view. But another thing that happened on the pay-per-view was the Babes of Wrath defeated Mercedes Monet and Athena. And then last night we got something that was kind of a surprise, for me at least. Willow Nightingale beating Monet for a title which title was it? The TV? I can't remember which one it was.
TBS.
TBS title. and that's be the second time now that Willow's held that. And they did mention that Willow's the first AEW women's star to hold two titles. I'm guessing they're
And
talking.
the first two-time TBS champion as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they said so they obviously Monet has like nine belts, but we're talking AEW titles. So technically, so yeah, so now I thought that was a great match too last night on the show, and running over a little bit. I thought what'd you think of that? That was pretty cool.
Um, Mixed feelings on it. I mean, I feel like Willow being the one to end that historic TBS title reign of Mercedes is the right call. They've battled a few times in the past. Mercedes originally won that from Willow. And so kind of a long story there and stuff. It's the timing of everything. You could go back and forth in terms of like which titles should Mercedes drop first. I feel like it's a little weird now that like we're kind of in the middle of her dropping titles and she drops the big AEW one. Um, I figured it would kind of be either first or last kind of thing, but um, I don't know. I like Willow getting that belt, but um, and I liked Willow and Harley getting the tag belts. I don't like both at the same time. I am beyond sick of people holding more than one belt within the company or holding a belt and challenging for another in the same company. It's got to stop. Joe having two before now. Willow has two. What is that like coming up in not next week, the week after is MJF defending against Bandito, who's got forget about the ring, like he's the ROH world champion.
Yeah.
And of course was holding that belt, had the tag belts, all this. There's so many examples of it, and it's just it really is feeling like Oprah. Like, but then it gets to the point where it's like, okay, maybe it is the opposite of that because you had all of these good choices with the women's tag division in the tournament and some teams that weren't in there. You decide to give it to Willow and Harley first, which is one of the good choices, but not the only one. And then do you know the whole time that you're going to give Willow the TBS title? Like either give her the TBS title first and let them be the second women's tag champs, or have them like I really really don't like that because there are a lot of people in that division. There are a lot of teams that did not did not advance in that tournament or could have won the tournament. You could have justified them being the first women's tag champs, and now like Willow has two belts, and you have all these other people in the division that just had to lose. Like it puts Willow over, but I feel like it now like makes Harley feel a little less relevant, to be honest. She seems even more like the B player on that team, the Genetti on that team, or whatever, because now she's only got one belt, and whatever. But um, so one or the other would be very happy with. I don't like both. But yeah, at the same time, I really don't.
Oh, I get your feelings on that and everything. I'm happy for Willow. It's like obviously they were building up a big feud with Monet there, and Willow had to lose a bunch of times before ever get the win back,
But
And
it is weird. Like Willow pinned Mercedes at the pay per view, and then again last night. I was like, did she need to pin Mercedes at the pay per view too? I mean, I understand like they use that as justification to set up the match, and then a
yeah.
few days later she's taking the title. But um, I just don't. I, I feel like there's been so many options for Mercedes to have already dropped that title or to drop it soon or whatever. That I feel like this could have. I like the little bit of the surprise aspect. Some people didn't um, expect it. As soon as there was some chatter yesterday, and then like as soon as knowing that that match was on last and stuff, I was like, all right, they're ending the year with Willow winning this.
Yeah.
And again, it's not bad, but I just feel like they could have either built up that they could have like reestablished that feud a little bit better, or waited, or I don't know. I just to me, it's not the best. I don't know. There's so many other people that are just Like, why couldn't you have Julia and Sky win the tag titles, or Ty and Anna, or like I don't know, or Mercedes and Athena even. Like as unpopular as that would be, like um, you could play that up in a lot of different ways, but I don't like both. I like that. I really like that one or the other as opposed to zero, but I don't like both together.
Do you think Mercedes is going a different direction now? Or are they going to maybe tee something with Athena? Because
I don't know. I mean, where do you go with this now? Because first of all, the thing I was thinking about earlier is like Mercedes having this like belt collector gimmick. It has lost a lot of steam. But it's something like I didn't hate it. A lot of people did, but I like aspects of that and how it drew people to watching, drew at least people like me to watching matches in other indies around the world and stuff like that. I know that that's like not what most people were doing, and most people hated on the whole thing, and that's fine. But I just like you build this thing up, it goes on for a while, and now like all of a sudden like that's like the title that's most relevant to anybody that's paying attention to that storyline. And now all of a sudden, like it's just quickly like randomly gone. It's like, well, she's still got these other belts, but like, does then are we supposed to care now? Because she already dropped the ROH TV, yeah, the ROH Women's TV title
yeah,
a couple weeks ago, and now the TBS title's gone. But now she still has a bunch of belts that like nobody's going to care about because like that basically kills the gimmick once she loses the AEW belts.
yeah, pretty much. She had like what was it, like seven shirtless dudes holding her belts last night as she was going to the ring, or however many belts she has. But sure, it's good to get some guys some work where they were. Was it Chicago? Was it last night? Yeah,
Omaha,
Omaha.
Ralston,
Sorry,
Nebraska last
the
night to be specific.
pay per view was
Yeah,
it in Chicago? Yeah,
yeah.
and
Because also like when you look at the belts, like she did like she dropped the Rev Pro British Undisputed, which was two belts in one. She's dropped some of the belts. She dropped both of the ones under the AW umbrella. Now it's like, okay, so you have these people holding the belts, or you display them on a table or whatever, but they're not even all belts left that can be defended. Like it's not like somebody's going to take her Owen Hart belt from a year ago. So like when does the belt collector storyline like actually end? Is it over now? Like, does she maybe get a little bit of time away from AEW and go like focus on losing those other titles and just refresh? Like, I don't know what you do at this point, but it feels like I don't know. It feels kind of like if you're if Mercedes is a heel and you're supposed to be as a fan like cheering for her to lose these titles, it's kind of like you just last night opened the big present on Christmas and now you just got like some stocking stuffers left to get through. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't really I don't care about the story anymore now.
so maybe it's time for her to go for the heavyweight or the women's title. I mean, it's something that they, the only time she really contended for it was when Tony Storm held it. So you know,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know when that I mean, she's definitely going to hold that belt at some point, and I assume it's going to be in 2026, but I'd like to see Stat do more with it first. So, and I don't know. I mean, now we're at a point where maybe we're not, maybe it's part of it is I don't feel like they're capitalizing on the Mercedes losses. Like she lost to Red Velvet. She got pinned at the pay-per-view by Willow. She lost a title last night to Willow. She lost that match to Alex Windsor in England somewhere.
yeah, yeah.
Like so, like if all of this is happening, then this should be like I know they've done bits and pieces of her like kind of freaking out, but like this needs to be like Christian tantrum
Yeah.
2001 stuff going on. Like we need to turn this into more of a story now.
It looked like she was about to when she was laying outside the ring last night, and that last shot they had Willow standing in the corner
Yeah,
and her like
they're
laying.
teasing it, and I mean like she like dropped the F bomb in the interview with maybe Renee or somebody like outside her locker room and stuff. She was freaking out in the locker. Like they are teasing it and stuff. I hope that there's more. to that story. The problem is like, where do you really go from here? Because yeah, I don't even know. Like, I'd have to look now to see in terms of like the titles that she still has left. Like the CMLL one is like a recognizable company, but most of the other ones left are nobody's gonna know.
Yeah.
There's like one in like Malaysia and stuff like I don't know. The New Japan one's gone, the AEW one's gone, the Ring of Honor one's gone, the Rev Pro one is gone. Like all the most important ones are gone.
It's we'll see. I mean, it's going to have to be a big change sometime. I mean, especially after the way that Dynamite ended last night, New Year's Smash or whatever they call it. But what about, they also didn't follow up with anything with Don Callis family on Dynamite this past week, or not a lot. I mean, they didn't. I mean, I was figuring that uh, you know, it's interesting because you had Don Callis's guys taking each other on, and one's cheating on the other one. And so they never really, we never really got Takeshita's side of that yet, realizing, I mean, obviously he can look at the video replay and see that he got screwed by a screwdriver. But, I thought that, yeah, but last night's episode was kind of like they were, I'm trying to think of like really what stood out besides that last match. There was some good stuff on it though. I mean, but the pay-per-view, thought it was a good pay-per-view. Hopefully it did well. I mean, this is last one of the year. So, kudos to everybody who was on it. It was a long show. They had four on the pre-show too, four matches on the pre-show, which is, I think that's their usual, but they only do an hour pre-show. So that's really like cramming them in there. But I don't know. Hopefully, maybe we'll see some. I mean, their numbers weren't that great because they were, on Christmas. They were Christmas Day numbers, so I have a feeling with the holidays they're going to take a little bit of hit in their viewership. But I don't, I'm excited about some of the things, and I am a little bit excited. I'm happy for Willow. I think that she gets a lot of run on Collision. It seems like more than maybe on Dynamite. And I enjoy her work, and I think she's been doing a great job for a while. And I enjoy the tag team, and but I still think it's we're gonna get a Mercedes explosion, and now MJF's champ. I mean, came out and debuted that big beautiful belt last night. Is that what the triple B's stand for? Uh,
I don't. Hopefully not at this point. But I don't know. Burberry is probably in there before. I don't know if they ever officially acknowledged the name, but last time around. But yeah, I mean, I like him being champion again. I'm totally fine with that. I mean, it does feel kind of hot shotted. He just got back, but now I assume that he'll probably, I don't know, does he hold it until All In and drop it there to Osprey?
Plus, Osprey's back by then, but Kenny Omega is the
yeah,
first one. Looks like he'd stand up for it. I mean, obviously, people
yeah.
came woodwork last night saying, "Hey, I'd like to shot at that," and it was interesting. I mean, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, obviously a heel, very heel. People still love him, man. I don't know why. It's like they were. I think he had more people cheering him than booing him last night. So, but congrats
I
on.
feel like it's always going to be that way for him now. Whether it's a good thing, I mean, as long as he's getting a loud reaction, whatever. But yeah, I don't think he's ever going to be truly hated by all the fans.
No,
But
no.
yeah, I mean, I love the idea of Omega being back in that title picture. It's been too long on that. Um, and yeah, I mean, last night felt a little weird because I thought we'd get a little bit more from, like you said, like the Don Callis stuff or whatever. They
Yeah.
don't have to rush into all that, but obviously a bunch of those people are either are now or already were headed over for Wrestle Kingdom this weekend in Tokyo. So, and I don't know if that factors in a ton with the booking, but um, Okada, you don't want to make Okada look weak before he faces Tanahashi in Tanahashi's final match this weekend. So not having him lose in the first well, the first round, whatever, the semis on Saturday to get to Takeshita, even though it was a dirty finish, whatever, like
Yeah.
that kind of helps a little bit because you don't want to bury Tanahashi on the way out. Um,
Do you think New
yeah.
Japan has some say in how Takeshita is booked uh, in AEW? I mean, we kind of alluded that we didn't think he was going to lose in any of the continental matches along the way. But do you think that? I mean, obviously, New Japan, they're one of the major companies. I mean, if you know, or major one of the, if there's three or four major companies, they're definitely in the top there. But do you think that they had a lot of say, like he can't lose clean or something like that?
Uh, either yes or it's Tony and AEW just knowing they shouldn't do that because they want to be good partners with New Japan and stuff, and just kind of assuming. I don't know since Tanahashi kind of took over there. I don't know how much he is picky about things or how much he's telling Rocky to tell Tony like you can't do this, you can't do this, whatever. Like I haven't really heard of examples of that really yet, but some of it is very strict with certain companies. And some of it I think is a little more like they're just not going to do it because of the respect for it or they want
Yeah,
the
you don't want to
partnership to
disrespect.
continue or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
you don't want to disrespect the belt. That's for
yeah.
sure. You know.
And I mean for Tanahashi, for Takeshita to go so strongly through the prelims and then lose by getting hit with a screwdriver like that didn't hurt him at all. So they kept him looking strong for sure.
Yeah, I was kind of like I said, I was kind of hoping they would follow up on that, and we're going to get it. I know, but not. It's just not happening just yet. You know, but
And that's fine because I mean let the heel win dirty first and keep the feud going. Like I'm fine with I don't want that to be a quick feud by any means. So
no, and it's been building up for such a long time. I thought we would get to the pinnacle when it falls apart, and it hasn't quite fallen apart yet. So,
I
and I,
guess I just in everything I did not need John Moxley to win the tournament. I really didn't need that. They didn't need that. Um, I mean, it's another accolade for him. It's another big name to put on that belt to try to make it, more relevant for the future and everything. But um, that tournament, I mean, there were some shining performances in that tournament that really helped people. You think of the Speedball Fletcher match and Takeshita's many wins and a lot of stuff. Like a lot of people really got to shine in that tournament. But to me, like that's a great opportunity to get somebody to the next level, as opposed to the guy that's held your world title like four times or whatever, and all this stuff. Like he doesn't need it. So I don't know. Hopefully it all factors into the Death Rider storyline and stuff.
yeah, and I think that
But
he's definitely he's face. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, without a doubt,
it
he's
was. I didn't expect the Chicago crowd to be so pro Moxley that whole pay-per-view. Um, like that made it feel more right in terms of what they decided to do with the booking and stuff.
yeah.
But I didn't really see that coming. But they were fully behind him.
Oh yeah, and I think that that's where it'll split with the riders there, right? I mean that'll at least begin it, I think. But yeah, and so let's move on to something else because we don't want to go too long today. And I did want to mention now one thing I wanted to bring up was you saw the post by William Regal that came out this past week, right, about neck injuries and stuff like that. And it wasn't like he was chastising any particular person or anything. He just wanted people to know how dangerous the sport is and what can happen. And and so Kenny Omega replied and thanked him for sending that out and everything. What did you think of that? That post, that Instagram post with, especially with the X-ray, with all the mechanical pieces in his spine.
Yeah, I mean it's I don't have an issue with the post by any means. I mean, I feel like there have been some spots in wrestling recently that have been cringe worthy and scary. Things in both of the major companies in the last month where people are getting dropped on their head and you're just like, oh no.
Right.
And We're at a point now where it is very much a like you can't get away with just doing a normal match. The fans have come to expect crazy, dangerous things more frequently than they used to need to. Um, and yeah, I mean, there's been some things where I'm just like, do do you really need to do that? Like, or things that were pulled off so well that like you see it live and you're like, oh my God. And then like you get a slowed down replay from a different angle and you're like, oh, they're okay. Like but like he's not wrong. I mean, pointing that stuff out. It's sad that like it turned into yet another like super tribalism thing out there.
Yeah, and that's what people were fighting. That's what people, I think Kenny Omega pointed out. It's like it shouldn't be, you know?
No, no, it shouldn't. I mean, you are gonna find more unsafe spots, uh, or spots that are not 100% safe, I guess I should say. You're going to find more of those in AEW than you do in WWE. You're going to find more of those on the indies. You're probably going to find those more in New Japan. Not necessarily like AAA and CMLL, but like it's it's a different game now than it was a decade ago, 30 years ago, whatever. Um, I guess I just like I feel like it's a little too frequent. Everything in wrestling feels a little bit too frequent in terms of big, crazy, dangerous spots and stuff that they don't mean as much, or you learn to expect them, and then like, what's the point? So I don't think, like I don't know, brain busters have been talked about this week. I don't think there's a problem with those. Those can be done perfectly safely. Um, the is that Moxley and Fletcher with the turnaround from the top rope
Oh
kind of thing?
yeah.
Like that was
Yeah, that was
like seeing that live was just like, oh God. And then like
he
saw the replay and felt a little better about it. But seeing Braun Breaker land on his head, like the thing is that like there's gonna be situations where this stuff happens from normal moves and stuff. You don't have to do something crazy to end up with serious neck problems. But I don't have any issue with it being pointed out. Sometimes the wording and stuff like the problem is the tribalism out there and everything, and how it's just one more thing that like people are jumping on to try to praise their favorite company and hate on the other company and stuff. But the fact is like there's been serious neck problems from people in wrestling in every company who've gone back and forth between companies, who won an Olympic gold medal with a broken freaking neck. Like there's a lot of different things out there. So it's those and in my mind especially concussions and stuff. Like they more focus on that stuff is not a bad thing.
no, yeah.
Um,
I agree.
and maybe in any way like Regal just putting out that tweet makes some fans think like, oh, if I don't get to see somebody get dropped on their head 3 times in this match, like maybe I should be okay with it because like
Yeah, yeah. Don't the
they'll be
people
able,
don't they don't have to kill themselves when you're
right.
for your applause.
Yeah.
So I think it's yeah, that's one of the things he was pointing out, and it's like, and he also kind of referred to Brian Danielson too, because he says he knows what can go wrong with the neck and everything. He said because he said he lives very uncomfortably every day because of injuries he has. And that this is he's like looking for people's health in the long term and past this world of wrestling, because people don't live very long after being a pro wrestler. It seems like they, it's for some reason it like takes 10, 15 years off their life just to doing that, being in that sport. So
Well, and how many people are there wrestling right now that are doing more than they need to their body to the point where there's no way that they're just going to be healthy, middle-aged, retired, comfortable, whatever. Like Darby Allin's the first one that comes to mind, and he doesn't necessarily get dropped on his head every match, but like some of the stuff he does or whatever, I guess it's tricky because like you could say as a promoter or an agent, coach, whatever, like, hey, you're not doing this or whatever, but like ultimately a lot of this stuff is up to the wrestlers and they choose to do it, and maybe the best way to get through to some of them is for somebody respected like a veteran like Regal to say it, that if anything's gonna break through to these people, to these current wrestlers, it's somebody like him saying something as opposed to, some fan or a boss or something, whatever. Like that's not gonna connect in the same way. So, yeah, I mean, good for Regal for speaking out on it, and I don't know if anything will really change. But we've talked a lot about this kind of stuff. Like some things are just happening way too much that you just come to expect it. You don't, and it's not even special anymore. Um, there was no Hell in a Cell match in 2025. That's fantastic. That's something we complained about. There doesn't need like make it feel special again when it does happen. All those types of things. Like if there's somebody getting hit with a light tube on a show, like maybe just one light tube, maybe not like 40 of them in three different matches on the same night where it gets to the point where it's like this is not entertain this is nothing special at all anymore. There's a lot of that out there too. So
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. So, I think that's good to talk about that a little bit, just because there are some people who I'm guessing who listen to this show have heard it that are workers and understand. Maybe sometimes you just put your life on the line and you really got or your health on the line too as well. When you're just trying to entertain a few people, and sometimes there's smarter ways to work. I think that's what kind of Regal is pointing out. It's like you don't have to freaking kill yourself to get over. And it's true. I mean.
it's a rough enough sport as it is that you don't need to go super crazy with every match, with every crowd, with every like you gotta space out those more risky moments or whatever. Because even thinking about that, like if you mentioned like if there's, indie workers in Western New York and stuff, like how many of them have been able to wrestle for a long time without a major injury or surgery? Not many. I mean, everybody's had their share of something, and a lot of that is just from freak accidents or regular, everyday spots and stuff. So, um, yeah, maybe we don't need to do some of the stuff that's happening from like the top rope to the floor outside and everything. Like been a lot of stuff in recent years where it's just like
Did you see the Willow with the back bump she took off the ring into onto the ground last night? That was insane. It's a
the
long way
table
down.
spot.
She went over, she got like she flipped out of the ring and landed on her back outside.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
I cringed at that because that reminded me of Mick Foley when he used to do those dives off the corner or whatever, and it's pretty crazy. So yeah, yeah,
I
don't.
mean, there's a lot of things popping into my mind. Honestly, one of the first things that pops in my mind is a show, a GCW show from like maybe 2 years ago, where like Billy Starks goes for a swanton from the top to the outside. Person moves and she just lands on her back on the floor,
Ooh,
and I'm just like, no, like this is not like there's nothing breaking that fall whatsoever. Like that's not like maybe you can get away with thinking like, oh, this isn't going to hurt that much because at the time she's probably like 19 or something. But it's like let's not establish this as like a regular thing to do. It looks crazy and it gets a pop, but like it could it could go very wrong.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. It's so there. Some other. So let me just talk about some other stuff. WWE was in town this past week, and I did not go because TKO outpriced me. But it's interesting that Scotty 2 Hotty's daughter wrestles with WWE. Her name is Taylor, and she had her debut match on the road this past week, and Scotty had posted something saying 34 years ago was his very first match, and it was in Rochester, New York. It was the same day as his daughter. So, and her name is Taylor. I can't remember her last name. Her last name is Taylor Garland, but she has a different name for a wrestler.
I was gonna say hopefully she doesn't use the last name that he used of Taylor. Taylor.
Taylor,
But
Taylor. So yeah, but he had posted a picture of her backstage at the Blue Cross Arena, and he had
I don't
brought
think I
up.
even realized that because I know he tagged with his son recently in the last couple of years or something too. But
Well, he's got a daughter who's on NXT right now, I think. But I did not like I said, I didn't go, but I just saw that before we came on. It's like, oh, look at that. He's like had a picture of her backstage, and then he had a picture of the card he was on with it circled around his name on the Rochester card from 1991. So it was I'm pretty sure I wasn't there, but
Wow.
yeah. So, but they were in town, and like I had assumed that Cody was going to talk about John Huber or Brody Lee, and actually it was Rowan I guess I didn't see any detailed reports from it, but I know that Rowan is in a tag match and brought it up, and they honored him there. So I'm not sure. I don't know how
He
well.
talked. He talked a little bit. Cody talked a little bit.
Okay, I knew
The
Cody.
clips I saw,
I saw Cody with
it
a
was
microphone.
nothing too lengthy or anything, but um, yeah, I mean, it was good. It definitely sounded like the crowd appreciated it and got the Brody chant out and everything. So that's nice for those to still be happening anytime there's wrestling in that building. So
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know how it did for numbers, but I hope it did well because I'd like them to come back. But they're going to be,
it was like 4,000 or something. I can check,
yeah, I'm not sure. That's
which is better than I expected. I mean, I know that ticket prices went down a little bit in the final week.
yeah,
In addition to that, buy three get one or whatever, but
yeah.
um, that's still compared to where the numbers were the first few weeks those were on sale. I mean, it got a little bit better at least. So
So yeah, yeah, that's I don't know, yeah, but that's good because I know people were there. I just haven't had a chance to talk to anybody about how it went. But if that's the case, then that's good because they're going to be in Buffalo tomorrow night, which is SmackDown, which we guess we'll talk about next week's show. But
they're in Syracuse tonight. I only know that because I just saw a tweet from Joe Gacy saying it was his first time wrestling in New York since 2CW or whatever. Which I'm assuming he means Syracuse specifically.
yeah.
But always nice to see those little shout outs.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. So they're there tonight. They're in Buffalo tomorrow. First 3 hour SmackDown of the new year that nobody's asking for. So yeah, that's going on. But I wanted to bring that up. That is, we're not colorblind to them being in town. Yes, they are in town. They've been around, and they cost a lot. So they do really do price people out at times. So, but I definitely wanted to mention it. I also wanted to mention one other thing before we get to the news because we're trying to get done as quick as possible. But Jericho's contract's up. There's a few things that happened as the new year changed. One, Jericho is no longer under contract. Two, Peacock is no longer working with WWE, or at least maintaining their archives. So Peacock archives are gone now, and we do have some stuff in the news about that. But the question now is, where's Jericho show up? Is it going to be the 5th of January for the Raw's 1 year anniversary on Netflix, or do they hold Jericho out until the Royal Rumble? I mean, it seems like it's pretty much a well.
I heard some people speculating that it would actually be on NXT on Tuesday, so it could be on January 6th. Maybe his
Oh,
wife will be there.
oh, but a bing. I need a rim shot for that. I had one on my phone someplace, but yeah, I don't know if that's going to be the case, but he's definitely, I mean, the thing is, he's not, the AEW schedule is something definitely better for him than WWE schedule. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, he is now a free agent, quote unquote. So he could show up, and they've talked about him being added. And so it wouldn't surprise me in the least if he shows up on Monday Night Raw this coming week. But I did want to throw that out there because now let me get some news and then we'll get out of here because it is not your regular night or my regular night for doing wrestling talk. But I do want to go through and mentioned Willa Nightingale's her second time as AEW TBS champion. So congratulations to her. If you're going to watch Collision tomorrow, or this is technically going to be on Saturday. So if you're going to watch Collision tonight, because this is when you'll be hearing it, we've got who's El Clon? El Clon's
El Clone.
El Clone?
Uh, who
No,
I
Eon.
mean, it's Arez who wrestled for ESW in July.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean that's the real answer, but yeah, he was like supposed to be like a clone of Hologram, but then
Yeah.
Hologram got hurt, and so and then Clone got hurt, and so now they're acting like this is, well, I guess this would be his first match. I was gonna say because he's already appeared a couple of times, but that was months ago.
Okay. We got Darby Allin versus Wheeler Yuta, Shelton Benjamin versus Scorpio Sky, and
Okay, nobody's talking about it. I cannot wait for Shelton Benjamin against Scorpio Sky personally. Like I know Scorpio's not at 100% of what he was maybe 5, 6 years ago. Um, but him and Shelton, I think it's a first time. I don't remember them wrestling each other before, but like those styles and stuff, I'm really looking forward to that match.
I mean, Shelton really hasn't done anything but WWE before AEW. He never really did like any of the other, places
Yeah.
where you might have met Scorpio Sky, so kudos to them. Timeless Tony Storm, Mina Shirakawa versus Maya World and Hyan. They're good. And you were right
He
about that.
recently signed.
Yeah, you were right about that last week. You said you should be seeing something about that, and we did. So, what are you working in their graphics now too? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, no, my list of graphics to do is already long enough. That sleep schedule is not getting better tonight. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. Okay. Let's pick up some speed then while we're here. This is going to be, by the way, in Arlington, Texas. This is where they're doing the month of Arlington. And
Which is because there is one week the Maximum Carnage in Oklahoma, no, Tulsa, I think. Could be wrong. Wherever it is, they're taping a Collision that week, so it's going to be like you're going to see two Collisions or whatever in Arlington, and then one week it's going to be somewhere else, and then it's going to be back to Arlington for a couple of weeks. So it kind of breaks up the residency.
well, they're in Tulsa for Dynamite this week coming up. So, and
okay, so that and wherever they are the week after that is a double. It's Maximum Carnage. They're doing Dynamite and Collision that same night, and I will try to remember where that is. Not that it matters, but now I can't think of.
I think the only reason I remember it because JR is going to be appearing, and it makes
That's
sense.
right. That's next Phoenix.
Phoenix. Okay.
Phoenix is the double taping. Yeah.
There we go. So that, by the way, this collision will be on TNT and HBO Max 8 o'clock on Saturday. It'll be live. Yay. And then this week's
A
Dynamite.
live Collision at its normal time and date. Wow.
I know,
It's
isn't
a
it?
beautiful thing. It feels like it's been, I don't even know if it's been that long, but it feels like it's been forever.
Yeah,
So,
certainly. So we got also, and so I mentioned Dynamite next week, which will be January 7th. The first Dynamite of 2026 is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. JR is going to be showing up to do commentary. John Moxley versus Shelton Benjamin in an AEW Continental Championship Eliminator. I don't even know what that means.
you got to, if you win that match, then you get an actual shot at the title in the next match.
Okay, I get you. So
yeah.
So kudos to
who is it
Shelton,
again? Moxley and
Shelton Benjamin.
okay. So yeah, if Shelton wins, then he would get an actual title match after that against Moxley.
Shelton's getting a lot of work now that Bobby's hurt, right? So I don't have a problem with that though. That's definitely a good.
I don't either. I nothing against Bobby and MVP, but I'm all about Shelton singles matches. So
Yeah. Okay. So then we got the Ops taking on, and that's Powerhouse Hobbs and Hook taking on Hangman Page and Swerve in a no holds barred lights out match. Now, lights out match, is that when they shut the lights out?
yeah, they shut out the lights, which they might have said that was going to open the show, but it's supposed to be like you shut off the lights and then turn them back on, and at that point, it's not officially a part of the show. It doesn't count in the record books, and AEW pretends like they're not responsible legally for it.
Oh, I get it.
Where clearly that would never fly in a court of law, but
yeah, when you're working in the ring, you're going to be under their jurisdiction. So that's at 8 o'clock AEW Dynamite on TBS this week coming up live as well.
It's interesting. Last night, one of the things that I tend to do a lot, that I'm probably one of the very few people in the world, but like I watch these backstage segments, and from my travels and work in my life, I've been to a lot of these smaller hockey rinks around there, like Ralston, Nebraska last night, like Tulsa, Oklahoma next week, all these and stuff. And they had I'm always like looking to see like what room they're in or what memories I have from that room or whatever. And to see like was this actually taped here? Are they pretending? Like, is this going up on the screen, but they actually filmed this? The previous week, we were watching one of the Hammerstein shows, and it was like, yeah, that room doesn't exist in the Manhattan Center. But that was legitimately the arena in Ralston, Nebraska last night that Samoa Joe was on the screen from. I was like, why not just have him go out in front of the crowd?
Yeah, you're
You,
there.
you made him go all the way to suburban Omaha. Like, let the crowd see him. I don't know.
I get you. I get you. So yeah, so it's interesting. I thought about that when I was watching the ones from Hammerstein because it's like they don't really. There's not really a lot of backstage there area, is there?
There
For
was one, a Hammerstein one, I think, with Joe, and it was like, this something about this room just screams Manchester, England to me, and not New York City. But yeah,
probably. I mean,
which is it's fine. Like, I mean, it's smart with especially with the veterans and stuff. Like, please do plenty of that. Like, let's just film this. We'll air it next week. You don't have to come next week. Like the days of like Bischoff making Bret Hart travel to Nitro just to show up and be like, yeah, we got nothing for you. You came all the way here for nothing. Like, let's not do that. Like, planning is good.
I agree. I
So
agree. So if you're going to watch Monday Night Raw this week coming up, they're going to be live from the Barclays Center, celebrating 1 year on Netflix. You're going to get CM Punk versus Braun Breaker for the World Heavyweight Championship. The Kabuki Warriors versus Rhea Ripley, Io Sky for the WWE Tag Champs. Maxine Dupree, who congratulations was married last weekend. Congratulations. I couldn't say her real last name to save my life.
there's like
Versus
no vowels, right?
yeah, it's like SMZTL something. I don't know. Yeah, it's not anymore. I
There's some
guess
numbers in there. Yeah.
a few numbers, a couple.
Special characters.
Yeah, you got to do that.
It's like a password that Google creates for you.
There you
Yes.
go. Maxine, she's taking on Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship, and it's a Stranger Things theme, which I did watch the final Stranger Things. I enjoyed it immensely. So, and they are touting this as their first anniversary of the Raw premiere on Netflix, and you might see Chris Jericho. Who knows? I mean, it could happen. He is a free agent now.
As somebody that's not paying attention whatsoever, was that a title change from Punk to Braun Breaker on their big
It,
anniversary, whatever?
it could be.
Uh,
CM Punk still holds the title, but it could be.
I do. We know how I feel about CM Punk, but I saw the clip pop up of like after Kevin Nash had questioned why Punk was wrestling in a t-shirt, and Punk comes out on a house show with a tank top on and then teases it, teases it, teases it, takes it off, has another one on underneath. That was good. That
Yeah.
was I think most of the crowd was probably like, what? But for those of us that actually like heard the clip of Kevin Nash saying it or whatever, it was like that was funny.
Kevin Nash has been very opinionated recently. He doesn't like a lot of things in WWE. You know,
He there's so much that I strongly agree with him on and that I strongly disagree with him on. He's an interesting guy. Always has been.
oh, I agree. I agree. So, some little updates on some injured people in WWE. Jacob Fatu's recovering from dental surgery, and he remains on track to return to television soon. But he's been gone. He's been gone for a while. They yanked him out like it was like when I can't remember October. He
They
just
yanked him out.
yeah.
Dentist, yeah.
It's the same. But
Hey,
being
Isaac Yankum him.
there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, we had Kane working on him there. Dominic Mysterio's dealing with a shoulder injury suffered at AAA on December 20th. He's still hurting from it, obviously. Penta, yeah, you saw Penta's shoulder injury when he went into the mat shoulder first and separated his shoulder. He did show up on TV this past week, but he did not wrestle. So hopefully Penta will be back soon, maybe in time for the Royal Rumble, after he flies out to Saudi Arabia. So let's see. I mentioned Chris Jericho's time in AEW might be done. Interesting that there was this is my last piece of news, so I'm going to talk slowly. A lot of things on New Year's Day transferred from Peacock over to Netflix, a lot of their WWE programming. And so there's like a massive list of everything that came over to Netflix. So if you're going to looking for the archive stuff, it's going to be on Netflix now for now. I don't know how long, but I think that was part of their deal is to like plant it until they have another place to put it. But it's like everything that was on Peacock. I mean, I've got a list here. It's sick. WWE Armageddon, Bad Blood, all the Bad Bloods, all the Armageddons, Battlegrounds, Bragging Rights, Breakdown, Breaking Point.
What
Let's
about Stomping Grounds or Great Balls of Fire?
Oh, Capital Carnage, Capital Punishment, Clash at the Castle, uh,
Beware of Dog 2,
Clash of Champions, Crown Jewel, Cyber Sunday, Elimination Chamber, Evolution, Extreme Rules, Fast Lane.
Helmsley Fest 47,
Seriously, Fully Loaded, Great American Bash, Great Balls of Fire, Greatest Royal Rumble, W Hell in a Cell, In Your House, Judgment Day, King of the Ring, Money in the Bank, all these ones. The ones I meant, all the pay-per-views I'm mentioning. No Way Out, One Night Only, which is probably the ECW one. And One Night Only is probably the best pay-per-view, one of the best ones they've ever did. Over the Limit, Rebellion, Payback, Roadblock, Rock Bottom, St. Valentine's Day Massacre, Stomping Grounds, SummerSlam, Super Showdown, Survivor Series, Taboo Tuesday, The Bash, the Wrestling Classic, which was terrible, Unforgiven, Vengeance, WrestleMania. I've been watching a lot of stuff on YouTube this past week, a lot of wrestling stuff, and because I really like, it's the end of the year time, and it's like everyone's doing their like, top worst matches of the year and then we'll see what it'll have like top 10 worst matches, and you get to see what companies they're from. And I would say majority of like the worst ones have come from WWE that I was watching and then like the worst things that happened in the past year. I mean, I saw this video all about Jey Uso, the fall of Jey Uso, and it's like how they gave him a nugget when they let him win the Royal Rumble last year, and nobody expected that. And then he won the title, and then they realized that his wrestling's not that great, and they took it from him. So, but I guess next week we could probably think about doing our painties, since we'll be like a week into the new year, and I think DC will be back. And have you thought about the painties at all since we were talking about it? Like some of the things that stand out. I mean, I could be influenced easily by Sports Illustrated and their list, because they have a great list, and I agree with a lot of what they say. So, but any thoughts on that, Rob?
No, we can figure that out.
We'll pound it out before the show gets on, and then we'll just go through and like do it. But
I did pull up the Rochester show final count tickets distributed per WrestleTix, 4,585. Convenient that it's 585 in there. That was 204 tickets less than the previous show in Rochester, which was a super show November of 2023. So pretty close to the numbers from the last time around, which again, if you had told me when those first counts came out, when the tickets had been on sale for a few weeks or whatever, if you told me they were going to get to 4,500, I would have said no way. So that's still not great,
it's
or like
half the
numbers that are going
place.
to make them, they're
I
not
mean,
going to be rushing back with those kind of numbers. But
I think
um,
TKO, that's one of the things too, that in the past year, one of the biggest beefs, a lot of these people on YouTube, like What Culture and stuff like that, is the TKO price shooting up. And it's not just us saying it. There's everybody in this world saying that right now. They were showing that when the tickets went on sale for WrestleMania in Las Vegas this year, that the cheapest ticket you could get was $858. So now it's probably come down a bit because nobody's buying tickets for bad seats for that much, but hopefully in this year, in the coming year, that will straighten itself out, and they realize that maybe buying the WWE wasn't a great investment if you can't make the way you want to make it. So, but it was great that they were here. The weird thing, it was a Sunday night too for the Rochester show. So it was a 7 o'clock start on a Sunday night. So
I heard a lot of people arrived late too because they were probably watching that miserable Bills game.
Yeah.
So
I was wondering if I thought it originally was a 5 o'clock start, but then they probably realized the Bills were on, and they were going to lose a lot of people. But yeah, it was a 7 o'clock start, and they did take a break in the middle of it and had a bunch of matches after that. So, but Kudos for them coming here. Good luck with them tomorrow in Buffalo. We're going to get out of here. I want to thank you, Rob. I want to thank you guys listening. And as always, we'll be back next week, same bat time. Well, maybe, yeah, that'll be the regular time next week, same bat channel.